So I was going to ask people, like, list some key swing states, because I've been doing this swing state prediction for Redaction Politics. List some key swing states and ask for some predictions from you guys. How's about that?
That sounds good. Yeah. Richard, do you want to start?
So, do you want me to list the Do you want me to list the state, or do you want me to predict who's going to win it?
I'll name a state, and we'll see who thinks is going to win it. So, shall we start with Arizona?
Biden. He's gonna do well enough in the Sun Belt, and the changing of makeup in that part of the US is going to swing it to him. Biden.
How did he vote last time?
Say again.
Arizona's been Republican for a while.
Yeah,
and it would be a flip.
It's also, I think, important to remember that in Arizona, John McCain is adored. He was the senator from Arizona for many years, and obviously Donald Trump has not made friends with him in life or in death. And so I think a percentage of that electorate are going to be voting against Trump in Arizona, and that will mean that Biden will take that state, in my opinion.
I've just got it here. 1996 was the last time the Democrats won Arizona. So that would have been Bill Clinton's re-election.
Mm-hmm.
How about Florida, folks?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me Florida, because I think it's probably it's the one state I really don't know. I mentioned some of the polling that's come out recently that's better for the president. I mean, it would make for if put it this way, if Trump doesn't win Florida, he has no path. You know, if we see on election night that Biden is close, you know, with the postal votes yet to come in, I think that it's a foregone conclusion. So I suppose to play devil's advocate, I'm going to say Trump for Florida.
How much do you think will affect it? Because obviously at the moment, Florida has a Republican governor and Republican senator. Most recently won the recent Senate seat in Florida.
Yes, and they were both elected on razor thin margins, which came down to, believe it or not, postal votes. So yeah, indeed. So I think Trump has some structural advantages in the Sunshine State. Not to mention the fact that I think is registered to vote there, or is he registered to vote in New York?
Mar-a-Lago is now his official residence.
Right.
So yes.
Although he has claimed that we should be voting twice, so maybe he'll vote once in New York and once in Florida. But you know, anything is possible. But I'm going to say Trump for Florida.
Any advances on that?
I'm gonna take an optimistic hope that like Biden is able to take it. Florida has a lot of unique circumstances in terms of their medical infrastructure and their levels of veterancy that would obviously benefit a lot more from a Biden presidency than a Trump presidency. It's a question of whether, you know, there's enough public awareness to these issues and to sort of create that response. I think that, you know, COVID is hitting, like COVID, like any other health crisis, is going to hit Florida harder than some of the other states. And I hope that might help to swing them around. At the same time, you know, a crisis is also a time that people generally move towards what they perceive as the strong man, which might very well be Trump.
Yeah,
rather than sleepy Uncle Joe.
Yeah, I'm with Mason on this one. I think Biden's going to take it. Yeah, I think Trump's handling of the coronavirus. I don't think it's going to go down well in swing states. I think it's going to hit him really hard. So I think Biden's going to pull ahead.
I think Florida is going to be one of the closest calls of election night. Here's one that's been contentious, because obviously this has been a Republican state for ages, but a lot of people are now saying this could flip. Georgia.
No, not quite. I mean, if we're seeing Biden ahead in the popular vote by 10, 11 points, you know, double digits by the time November rolls around, perhaps Georgia will be in play. But I just don't see Biden's team spending enough time there. They don't need to. You know, it's not a particularly smart electoral strategy to start going after states like Georgia and Texas, because they have a path through the Midwest. They can, if they focus on the states which arguably Hillary Clinton neglected in 2016, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, then he can get 270. I think they don't need a Reagan-esque blowout of electoral votes. And I think if there is an utter landslide, then sure, Georgia's in play. But I'm saying Trump.
Fair enough. I think I'd agree. Even though I did kind of tried to play devil's advocate with it last time and say maybe it will flip, a la when Obama flipped Indiana in 2008 against all expectations. Like I say, it would take a landslide. And back last time I did these predictions, I was thinking a landslide was in play, but I think it's getting closer now. And I think it's more looking like a 50-50 knife edge as to the overall result itself.
Yeah, and if you look at was it Stacey Abrams election in 2018?
Brian Kemp won it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think it'll be a bridge too far for the Democrats.
Yeah. Okay, and then obviously the next one I'll bring up is a group of states, that being those Rust Belt states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio.
Biden for me.
All four of them.
All four of them. And I think that's where he's gonna get the tipping point. That's where 270 electoral votes are going to happen. You look at, I know Biden's from Delaware, but he has a lot of that kind of Midwestern honesty. I think he will resonate well on a personal level in a lot of these states. In Pennsylvania, the fact that he took the train to work every day, and home every night to make sure he can tuck his kids into bed. His military background of his kids, coupled with the fact that employment in those parts of the US has been hit hardest. I think his message is going to resonate with the Midwest.
Yeah, I think my prediction, to be honest, will be I think Trump might just hold Ohio, but I agree that the other three will go back to Biden.
I agree. Yes, but that will be offset, I think, by the fact that Biden will win in Arizona. He may win in North Carolina as well. And if you add the electoral votes of Arizona and North Carolina, they're more. That's 20 electoral votes, and you've only got 18 in Ohio. So, yeah.
And if Trump lost and won Ohio, he would be the first. That would be the first time since 1960. I think I'm right in saying that Ohio went with a losing candidate.
It's a real bellwether. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's Ottawa County, Ohio, that has literally, even beyond then, it's just that county in Ohio that always tends to go with the winning candidate.
But then I wonder how long that's going to last, just because Ohio is moving further right than the average in the US, while states like Arizona, Texas are moving left. So we may see a bit of a realignment. But for me, Ohio is Trump now.
Well, yeah, I mean, wasn't New Mexico was another one that was a bellwether for quite a while, but is now fairly solid blue.
Yeah, and Virginia was pretty solid red up until 2008, and now it's we're not even talking about it. We're not even talking about it. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I do think we need to add sort of the caveat to all of these that we haven't really accounted for the potential of voter suppression being enforced in some of these states, because I think that is a very real issue. It's something that we do need to worry about. The outcome is obviously going to be broadly determined by those postal ballots that we talked about earlier, and it's very possible that the different states will handle it in different ways.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I mean, I think there are some states who have Democrats in control on a state level, and them coupled with the Biden campaign and the DNC, they're going to do everything that they can possibly do to make sure that as many votes are cast and counted in the way that they should. But I absolutely don't disagree with you. It could have an effect, especially if it's very close.
And last but not least, Texas.
Bridge too far.
Trump.
Yeah. So you've only got to look at 2018. Beto O'Rourke against Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was not a popular senator everywhere else. Beto was very popular, in this country, in California. But I think it'll be closer. I think there'll be less than 5 points in it ultimately, and maybe in 4 years, maybe in 8 years, as the makeup of the state becomes less and less white. But I think it's a bridge too far, and I think the Biden campaign would be silly to waste resources for those electoral votes when they don't need them.
Yeah, I agree. I think, to be honest, if anything, Georgia is more likely than Texas.
Yeah.
But, and there we have it with a few swing state predictions for you. We'll be keeping you up to date with all of those nearer the big day.
Yeah, make sure to keep following James's predictions. They're great. He's keeping us well informed.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening or watching, depending if you're on YouTube or on our podcast. Last time Mason did a dab, and to be honest, I think it could have been better.
It's difficult on a webcam. But I did prepare something special today. I did mention that, it is easier to trust an expert wearing a lab coat, and the opposite also being true. It is a lot harder to take me seriously if I sign this off in a tinfoil hat.
No, you've got to say something profound now, Mason.
Okay. I very nearly made the joke that I made off microphone previously. That would probably get us sued for libel. So I'm gonna.
I think it
stop
might. So you
myself
you had better stop yourself there.
Yeah. I'll say it after we cut the recording. Don't worry.
Yeah.
For Richard's benefit.
We'll let all of our comment below with what you think Mason was about to say. In fact, don't if it's libelous. Don't if it's libelous. Don't comment.
Okay, so thank you very much for listening or watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.